Okay, welcome to another video. I haven't done one of these for a little while, mainly because I don't really know where I'm at with any of my projects. I know, for instance, I've made as many videos of any description really for the last year or so. Part of it being that I don't really feel in the mood, and secondly, because I suppose it's related to the music and the output and the way I'm producing the music now. It's kind of interesting that you follow a particular path and a formula, and then suddenly, I don't know, the pressures of life, the external situations around us, everything sort of has some sort of weird impact on your output, your outlooks, all that kind of thing. And so therefore, I gather as much as I've wanted to retain and keep persevering and pushing my boundaries and the ideas, the projects that have come to my mind, I can't output or produce the work like I want to, or like I was previously doing so. I think that's because I'm focused quite a lot on the activities of the world these days. I do take everything very seriously. I like to research. I like to get a balanced opinion. I will listen to mainstream news very, very much, and keep tabs on what they're telling us. But equally, people that have been suppressed, people with other alternative viewpoints, rational points as far as I'm concerned, and sane, more logical. That's where we're at. We can deduce whatever we like, but I certainly don't like division or divide. I don't like toxicity, and I think that everyone should be given a fair point of view, if that makes sense. Many of you will know I removed myself from Facebook, Instagram, and a few people knew I was on WhatsApp, though I didn't really want to go there either. But the culmination of the three social media platforms as such, all being part of this metaverse, it's something I really strongly don't want to be part of. Again, perhaps it's just a matter of looking forward all the time. I've always been looking forward, or I've sort of had a projection of the future rather than living in the now. And I can, I think I'm not alone, but I think there's a lot of people that can see what's coming, and how potentially addictive or drawn into certain things you can become. And that's kind of dangerous, because that really shows that people haven't got as much control of their lives as they really think. It's quite sad, really. It's sad in the fact that these platforms are pulling people away from life itself, and life is very simple. Life is supposed to be simple. It's not supposed to come with a price. I think I've mentioned it many, many times that time is the only commodity we really have, and the most precious one, because it's running out from the moment you're born, and no one knows what day they're gonna, pop their clogs, unfortunately. So you should be living each day as it comes, and should have always been doing that prior to these last couple of years. You should never have been taking anything for granted. It's quite interesting when you think about booking events or booking holidays, or looking forward to next Christmas or whatever it is, when it's multiple minutes, hours, days, months, etc. away, and the only day you can really guarantee being around is this very present day. Tomorrow doesn't, you've got to take each day as it comes. and there you go. You know, it's that kind of impact, that world impact, is you know, threatening a way of life for whatever reasons. Something I'm not an advocate to, for sure. You know, well, people who know me again, they know that whatever the circumstances, whatever or however I come across, they know actually I care, always have done, and I care for people I don't know. I care for strangers. I care for friends. I care for family. I would never do anything untoward, and I wouldn't put out anything misleading. Never, you know. There's no point. You know, factual transparency, genuine, honest morals, all these things. I think they count for a lot. So that's really where my energy has been for the last year, I suppose. So of course that pulls some of that energy that you've got, you know, to remain positive and optimistic, out of the music projects. And you know, it has taken its toll a little, because the more we proceed down this weird journey, this path, whatever you want to call it, I've had to get more involved with that, you know, rather than my own projects. I want to get on with life, but I don't think the world at the present moment is allowing people to do that. It's putting people on tenterhooks, and it's not being transparent. You know, it's obviously got a plan. Everything that's come about, that certain people forecast, has all come true. You know, so you know, there's no denying the fact that if you've got intuition and instinct, you'll be very much aware what's the truth and what's likely to come. And I thought I'd do this video in a way to express, you know, or at least show in my face the, you know, the integrity I believe I've got. And you know, I don't think I'm balmy or a fruitcake. I know I've got a wacky sense of humour, for again, people who know me close. But I'm always a very serious person, actually. I'm probably more serious than I should be, or certain people actually realise. And maybe that's because of my outlook of the future, really, from a very, very young age. You know, to sort of, you know, at the age of 7, to be thinking that I was quite interested in not dying, and wanting to see if there was a way of stopping people from dying, like my nans and my granddad, etc. At that age. You know, I took this quite seriously. You know, and used to spend hours and hours and hours thinking about how to stop people dying. But as you get to a certain age, you realise, in actual fact, everything must come to an end at some point. And it also gives a good perspective of life itself, if you can actually understand and respect your own mortality. There'll be more meaning to it. You know, in my case, you know, here I am sporting a sort of beard thing coming back again. It comes and goes, as you know. And the reason for that is because I just don't like shaving. It's as simple as that. And that's a good aspect, because, you know, from my perspective, knowing that I'm going to die one day means I won't have to shave. It seems like a small price to pay, or a big price to pay for that alone. But could you imagine you're living forever and you've got to continue thinking about shaving? No, I think it, you know, it's just it's a contrast of things in life. But as far as I'm concerned, you know, it makes a point, you know, that you get to a point where you just realise that life is what it is. I'm not going to go on with the political aspect or side, or you know, the people who are making money out of this situation, etc. Because I think, you know, people need to, you know, take certain things into account for themselves, and take in the bigger picture if they can. Give themselves, I don't know, see if they can actually, you know, well, how can I put this? I feel like people need to do whatever they need to do for their own reasons. You can't provoke someone. You can't push someone to do something they don't wish to do. But in my case, you know I'm watching the mainstream media and watching alternative media, and that gives me a very balanced opinion. Um, Whereas someone who's perhaps just watching mainstream media and just taking that, then they've got to work out if they're actually getting a balanced viewpoint. Um, and it's quite interesting because you start rolling back things. You start rolling back and realizing that perhaps it hasn't just been the last 2 years that we've been living a sort of fake stream lie of some description. Um, you know, ulterior motives behind most things. Um, you know, when certain news is being broadcast, um, something else is probably happening. So you get to the point where you actually realise that they're only going to tell you what they want to tell you anyway. Um, and it's quite saddening in a way because you start to recognise that you're probably just part of a farm, a human zoo. I'm not sure that all the tasks, all the things that we do are all for the greater good, of course, the collective, but not for us as an individual. That we may have to, tolerate hardship or go through life doing jobs or putting up with things you don't particularly like, all in this search and quest for money to keep plodding along. And it's rather sad. It's all, I remember my mum and dad going to, where was it? Dominican Republic a few years back, and they said the people were quite poor there, but they were happy. But they were probably happy because of what their surroundings, perhaps the material objects that we buy in the Western world that mean very little over a period of time. Maybe it's because the people who've got nothing have got, less to lose as well. So many aspects to and perspectives of life. When you've got time to sit, ponder, and think about it, and not be told how to think. I think it's important to take that into consideration. Now, just coming back to the music. Obviously, I'm not doing talking about an album I've produced like I've done in the past. But I'm happy to talk about the 3 projects that are going on at the present moment. One of which is I'm looking at the screen. An album called The Greater Distraction. It's quite nice to do these additions, if you like, these add-ons, or have these ideas for things, because my first album was called The Great Distraction, and there's many reasons why that album was called that. And at the present moment, it has been removed from platforms, so you can't actually get hold of it. Though I think there's 1 or 2 videos on YouTube from tracks of that particular album that you can still find. But I'm doing a number of things simultaneously, or hoping to do this year with my time, and that's to complete the Greater Distraction album, which is about 2 tracks away from finishing. And quite interesting that the titles, it probably is sort of some form of psychology, but the titles seem to relate to the situations of our lifetime at the present moment. And of course, given the original album, The Great Distraction, the reasons for that, The Greater Distraction seems to be more focused on what I consider to be great distractions. And again, I hope that the music can portray that, along with the titles and my sense of humour, of course. So it would be great to get that completed, and hopefully that will probably be the album output before any other this year, due to its imminent closure, I suppose, to some extent. And then going back to The Great Distraction, I want to rework some of that and remaster some of that, because I feel like it's probably time to do that to some extent, and that's hence why it's not there, because I feel like it's not. It hasn't. It served its purpose at the time, but it hasn't got the potential that it deserves or should have. So I just want to rework that. An album I was moving forwards pretty swiftly to some degree is now taken the back burner because of this switcheroony. And that's the second Winter album. It's got some great tracks on it as far as I'm concerned, and as I say, it's a good follow-up to the Winter album. And I do want to push forward with that, but if I get these lulls or moments that hold me back, then I feel that there's good reason for that sometimes. And so I'm quite happy to leave down the back border and leave it perhaps for a later release for winter 2022 instead. Seems to make a lot of sense. And the reason for that is so that I can really concentrate on the Dimensions album that I started back in 2017. Because along with a new track just recently, the original 3 tracks I've been working on now are almost so close to finishing that I just have to. But I don't know. Maybe 2022 is a very important year for actually outputting this album, because we do live in these kind of strange dimensions, or we don't even know where we're living really. We're living on a world, but we don't fully understand what it is, and perhaps that's why the album itself is complex from my own perspective, because it's like, what is it supposed to be portraying? In my case, it is the completion of the Time and Space albums, and why it's so cool as the trilogy. So Dimensions being the 3rd album in that series as such, and that also is brought back the thought, of course, that both Time and Space albums have also been removed from platforms, though again they can be, bits and pieces of them can be found on YouTube. But Time, I feel, is okay. I don't think I need to rework on that at all. It's a solid album, and I think the mastering and everything is good. I might see if I can embark on bettering it, but I don't really feel it's important. But the Space album really is. It's the mastering on both. I know I had it remastered as well, but at the time I wasn't mastering. I wasn't doing the mastering. And the people who were doing the mastering for me obviously did the best they could, but it really has done something to the output of that album, and it's not the way it should be heard. So I do have to rework that as well, and obviously working around other work that I do, other jobs that I do. I just haven't always got the time, and I seem to have wanted to have relaxed a lot more in the last year or so, as part of anything else. Why not just enjoy life, and don't get up to put yourself into pressure or anything if you don't need to. But because I'm making these statements and making this video as an example to sort of, these are things to provoke me to make sure I do fulfil what I say I'm going to do. So because I'd like to do it. But it's certain things will become, things that happen after other things, and that's the way it's going to go. So that's really where I'm at. Do watch or look out on Bandcamp, or please follow me on Bandcamp, because I will be doing more things there. I've got, I've been, again, behind the scenes, I've been looking at things I can do with Bandcamp. Equally, things I've been doing with Reverb Nation, because I feel like these platforms are more focused with music anyway, and the output. So I'd like to generally, put my concentration into things that are more specific to the music, should I say. And that really brings you up to speed as such. So it gives you a background about me, my thoughts, the world around us, present projects, and where my music's going and where it can be found. And I'll do another one of these videos very soon, I suppose, and talk about the Space album. I think that's the next one in line anyway, and give you a behind the scenes about that particular album. So thank you very much for tuning in. I hope I haven't bored you too much or got you irritated because of my viewpoints. But yeah, nice to touch base. Thanks very much for looking. Cheers. Bye bye.